There we go. Why does the church refuse to remove the homeless from the steps? Everyone that enters early on Sunday, Saturdays, or even after evening services find this. Yes, they do, sometimes. Steps covered with trash and human waste. Yeah, this is, I'd say, an ethical edge for our church. And I guess, I'd say, and I'd remind you, this is, our church has policies, our administrative board sets these things. It's I as senior pastor, of course, weigh in on things, but this is a church decision. That's how we, anytime we talk about policies, facilities, buildings, the way we budgets, we have committees and groups of people that look around these things and make a decision to do that. And I'd say we're balancing two things. One is compassion, for those who are homeless. How do we have compassion as a church? And then the other is protecting the sacredness and sanctity of our space, which of course is important to us too. And when you're a downtown church, of which we are in this location, we deal with this here. We really don't have a homeless problem out at the West Campus. But we balance those two. And I guess the scriptures I have in mind, and again, how they work out would be something like, Jesus and his compassion to those in need, giving a cup of cold water to those in need, reaching out to the last, the least, the lost. If you've got 2 coats, give 1 away. I think there's just such an ethical command that Christ gives us to show extraordinary compassion. And in the church, we have to find a way to do that. And so, when we make a decision or when we have, say, okay, the homeless people can sleep on our steps, I see that decision in that vein. Now, it's also true that when we do that, we make other decisions as well. One decision has consequences. And when everybody comes up to their church, I want it to be, it's holy. I want it to be clean. I want it to smell nice. I want it to be good. And it's just, in this location with the social problems that we have at our door, we just have to find a way to balance that. And so I would hope that there'd be a middle-of-the-road way to do that. Sometimes in church, if I'm getting criticism from this side and this side, I'm probably pretty close to right, because we're going down the middle of the road. But our church has a long tradition of, reaching out to the homeless community. One of the coolest things we have going on, I was there this morning, is our Sunday school class of the homeless, and you see 20, 25 people with their Bibles open, other folks providing breakfast. I think it is one of the most tender expressions of ministry that we offer here at First Methodist Houston. And if you haven't been a part of it, you need to, because it might too, I would say, change your interpretation of the question. In the sense that, it's about once a month, I'd say, a member of the homeless community actually sends me a message or reaches out to me and says, can I make an appointment with you? And I've actually done this a lot. So I've had a cup of coffee with somebody who lives on the streets. And when I do, I try to take the opportunity to hear their story. Who are they? Where do they come from? How did they get to where they are? What are the things that they're dealing with? And they will usually tell me, and I always learn a lot. And so one of the things that I try to do when we think about policies that we're thinking about or talking about at the administrative board is, at least in my mind, I try to put faces with it and say, John or Jane or whoever it might be, if I were to advocate this policy or this stance, how would that affect their lives? And we have at First Methodist Houston people who were presidents of Sunday school classes who came to us off the streets. We have people who came to us, started when they were at Star of Hope, and they are among our leaders now. If you want to, if you start asking around, you will discover really quickly that God has used some of our expressions of compassion to not only rescue people, but to get them out of the danger that they were in and let the gifts God has given them develop in a great way. So, when we talk about, policies and things, I try to put a little bit of a human story, and in some cases, if I can, a transformation story with it, so that we can maybe see from a kingdom point of view what it is that we are talking about in deciding.